eating you.
Exactly.
Here we go. Good evening. I'd like to call the regular meeting for the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to order. In attendance are regular members Holgren, Sienna, Galdenzi, and Dulac. First order of business is the continuation of a public hearing for 440 Tucket Road. We will not be discussing that tonight. The applicant asked for that to be moved to September 15th at 7 o'clock here, so there'll be no discussion on that one tonight. Yep. This is from an email from, who's that from? Derek Rose. Derek Goss. Carrie, due to the reconfiguration of the stormwater management system and a need for significant time for the town engineer to review the revised plans, we request to table the September 1st and request to continue to September 15th. If we need to continue that time, after that time, we will request further extensions. Thank you. All right. Old business.
Do you want to do the meeting minutes?
Oh, shoot, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
I forgot everybody was here.
In order.
Well, she already missed me. I already started on the first one. Let's see. So it's, what meeting we have from August 18th?
Yes, and, so you, Fran, Ron,
Ron, David, and
Yeah, we could do it. Yep. How was your business trip? Did you have a trip? Were you on a trip?
Yeah, I was on vacation.
How was your vacation?
Good. Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah, I motion we accept the August 18 minutes.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. It passes 3-0, and Bill abstained on that. Old business PZ application 2014-15-6, that's for the 40 Cyril Road.
no updates on that.
But there will be a,
Yes.
public hearing on
September
8th at
6:30.
6:30 at the.
Auditorium.
At the high school auditorium. Okay.
Is it being billed as a public hearing or just an information session?
Sorry?
Is it being promoted as a public hearing or as a
Yes.
public notification?
Yeah.
Public hearing that's being held by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. So it's an adjudicatory hearing. So the town doesn't have a role, like there's no one from a town board. I'm planning on being there, but I won't be speaking.
New business, revision of PZ application 2015-13, 90 Cyril Road.
This applicant also requested a continuation. They are looking to increase the building size, but they needed additional time to finalize the plans. So I have them on the agenda for the 15th.
Okay. Referral regarding use variance application at 63 Fowler Road.
So this application we will be hearing, so this is,
It's not a, it's not a public hearing.
right, it's not a public hearing. The applicant is in the audience. We haven't seen too many of these. There was one other one. Oh, good, Fran's here. Let me just get her name tag. You didn't get your package?
Came this morning.
It's coming in, yeah, it's coming in a letter size now. Threw me off.
Sorry, I was.
I don't think I
didn't
got
have
it.
that much business. Let me just,
I get home with yours.
It's like problems.
It's Sprite, lemon lime.
I don't know.
Think
you got it.
The normal yellow mail, right?
can I share with you, and I'll give Fran mine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, I think,
I can look on yours.
yeah, I don't remember getting it.
Did you get
This
any
got pushed
information on
out.
this stuff?
got pushed out.
What's it look like, this? This one?
No.
Be out of here.
I didn't get this. This was all,
You almost
let
missed
me
it.
double check.
It's all
Oh, wait a
set.
minute. I just
Yes.
pressed this, okay.
Yep.
I didn't get the map
Yep,
though. This
that's
was-
fine.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
all right,
no
you
map.
can get it to Frank. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's it.
3 or 4 minutes.
I just didn't get the I didn't see the map in it, that's what.
Thank you, sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Yes. Oh, sure.
It's just a synopsis of what I.
Oh, great. Okay. Oh, are these copies? Oh,
I didn't-
perfect.
I don't know if you got it.
Great. No, I don't have these.
Helpful.
Oh, there was, oh, I got one more.
We have one down there.
So just to review this, so this is a use variance application. We've only had one other one since I've been here anyway. And that was for George Beermonger. He also lives on Fowler Road. And the zoning regulations say that for a use variance, you obviously for any variance need to go to the zoning board of appeals, but in our regulations it says that you have to come to the planning and zoning board first for a referral, essentially.
Yep.
And then it goes to the zoning board of appeals to see if they grant the variance or not, and then if the variance is granted, then they would come back to us for a site plan. But the purpose of having them come before this board first is to see if it fits with the plan of conservation and development and our zoning regulations. Because with a use variance, so the current underlying zoning for 63 Fowler Road is I2, which is, I can pass this down as well, but if you're familiar with Fowler Road, so it's off of Route 80 and to the east of kind of the center of North Branford at the end of Fowler Road. And
It's an I2 zone?
it's an I2 zone. Yep.
Okay.
So there are about 4 homes, I believe, 4 residential homes in that zone, in that area. At some point, it turned from residential into industrial. They are surrounded by a lot of industrial use. But in this application, what he's looking to do is convert an existing garage into 2 apartments, essentially.
Yeah, it's a second story on the garage. Right now, the space is 1,800 square feet on the first level, garage level. And on the second story is another 1,800 square feet with 8-foot ceilings, just clear span.
So apartment first, apartment second?
No,
First and
2
second?
apartments on the second floor, / office. 1 apartment, mainly what I'm looking to do is get 1 approval, I'd like to move my office, business office up there. But because it has a bathroom and maybe a, meeting area, they're saying it's more, looks like an apartment. So, they said go up with 2 apartments, cause I don't need 1,800 square feet, I could divide it into 2 900 square foot apartments.
So what's on the first floor? It's still gonna be?
Garage, my shop. That's why I have builders that run a, small remodeling,
This is a building?
building.
Building?
So right now on the
Building,
second floor, is this empty? You wanna,
Second floor is empty.
Yep.
okay, so you wanna fit it out as apartments?
What's that?
Apartment
Correct.
status?
Okay, there's nothing there now, there's no
Did the building department
utilities
see
up there
this?
now or anything, it's just all open?
He hasn't gotten that far
Okay.
to
Only 'cause
the,
like from fire code, I don't know if you know about the fire, I don't know about fire codes enough to say, Can you even have it residential on top of a commercial space?
Yeah, if it's 5/8 fire code. and
Okay, yeah.
Sheet rock, which it is already sheet rock, 'cause I drug it,
Yep.
when I did the shop down below, I wanted it nice and clean and neat, and we drywalled the whole thing and painted it. Plus the whole residence, when I bought it originally, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the pictures, cleaned up the whole area. It was just, all overgrown and run down,
And when was the garage built?
3 years ago.
And so you went through that permitting process, and right now it's just vacant space?
Above.
Above.
So, yeah, the first floor of the garage is used. I park my trucks in there and I have some equipment, tools, keeps everything out of the wind. So the second story is just vacant space.
And is there a separate outside entrance up to those
Correct, there will
units?
be. There are
Or
doors there, I
space?
never built the stairs yet.
Yep.
You're just doing this because you wanna relocate your office into.
I wanna take the office out of the home.
Right.
Because right now we have customers come over, employees come over. You don't have any privacy, everything, your business is all in one.
But why, and who recommended you split it into 2 apartments?
Well, I don't need 1,800 square feet of office space.
Right.
So my thought was I could put 2 900 square foot rooms up there or apartments. One definitely for the office / apartment, and the other one is, future. I don't wanna do them both at this time, but they suggested I come before the board and do it now rather than
I mean,
separate.
would you be renting it out to somebody to live there, or are you just doing it because somebody recommended split it into 2?
I could potentially rent
Okay,
it out, yes.
right.
Matter of fact, I had one person ask about it. They asked, they were looking for a studio apartment, do you know where there is one? I said, well, there's plenty of that. I'm still trying to build one now.
And one of them is gonna be your office, and you said / apartment? Is it an
Correct, because
office or is
had-
it apartment?
Has a kitchenette in there and a bathroom. When I went to East Shore Health, he said, this looks more like an apartment. I said, I understand that, but if you have an office, you wanna have food, snack area, eating area, and you need facilities.
And what kind of shop is it that's in the garage?
I'm a building and remodeling contractor.
Plus,
So right downstairs, maybe I just park my vehicles.
I think we have to just be the mindset that it's 2 apartments, even though
Yeah.
he intends on using it as an
Yeah,
office.
that's what I was-
but
yeah.
We're gonna
You
zone
want
it for 2
multi-use.
apartments, it could be,
Yeah.
well, I'm
Multi-use.
saying, so don't, he's gonna use it for an office, but if
Yeah.
he wants to get the approval for.
Well, it's similar to what they did down in the East Haven line, where they had the apartments upstairs that were in the garage, and they made them apartments. Same thing.
Right.
So just to give you context, I've circled the parcel, just so that you can see where it is. And then also, as I mentioned, even though it's an industrial zone, George Beermonger, is doing something very similar to the east. I think you directly abut him, right?
Correct.
You-
Okay, that's where Father.
And then to the southwest is the large
Western
parcel
side, yeah.
there is 50 Fowler Road, which is where Cherry Hill received approval to do the over 55 building,
Is it stalled right now?
which we're not sure the timeline of that, but residential is allowed on that parcel.
Yeah, they're directly across from my driveway. Their entrance. And George is right behind my shop.
And then this, I'll
He
just
doesn't
pass
have
this
a problem
down.
with it.
That shows,
We
this
do the same
is
thing,
kind of
right?
the driveway, on the left is the driveway from Fowler Road.
Right here.
And actually here.
None of the neighbors
Where's the driveway?
had any issues.
This is
They
kind of
know-
the dirt road that comes from
They know
Fowler,
what I've
so
done
here's
to the
Fowler
property.
Road,
I've
it just comes
cleaned it
out.
up and updated
And that
it.
continues, this is where George's is, but this is the
City
driveway to
water
the
to
main
the
house,
house,
and then
just
the
issue.
parking for the garage.
Did it well.
And I'll pass that down too, that's the floor plan.
Yeah.
So, just to put this out there, one of my initial concerns, just from a zoning perspective, is, the conflict of use between residential and industrial. But that being said, there are residential uses happening on this parcel and adjacent parcels. So it's, a little challenging in that what's there versus what it's zoned. But it is being used residentially. And again, what the ZBA would be looking for is just some kind of report from planning and zoning as far as, would you recommend this, or do you have concerns?
What's the big difference now? You know, the property where the old town hall is, they want that developed as mixed use, commercial and,
Business.
That's not
But it's
industrial
business,
zoned.
yeah.
That's business, it's solely different.
yeah.
That's a business zone,
You
that's
could create
the
a
main
whole-
difference.
Yeah, a whole business
Yeah,
district with
but we
mixed
already
use,
have, like you said,
residential.
we already
and all
have,
that.
we already have existing industrial, residential mixed use in town too.
Right.
True.
Like you said, the ones that want to butt into property, so I mean, what is the big concern about having industrial, residential mixed use versus commercial?
I
industrial?
guess the type of business, so with Cherry Hill specifically, just because of beeping trucks or noises, it can create a conflict of uses. It seems like this property owner already knows those conflicts, and anyone who would be coming in renting, it's just knowing your neighborhood that you're moving into.
Okay, I have a thing, I can ask a question about beeping trucks.
Mhm.
What time are beeping trucks supposed to start in the morning?
There's no
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's no
I mean-
you'd have to look at the site plan for each one.
Yeah.
I live in a residential neighborhood, and I walk up the street with my dog in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, off of Ledgewood Drive, and I can hear trucks from Cyril Road beeping all the way over to Squire Road
The
at
point-
6 o'clock in the
The
Yeah.
point
morning.
here is they're right next door to you.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, you know,
Right.
they're
You're
going in.
upstairs from
Yeah.
them.
No, you hear that
So-
beeper that you
so
hear
then when
is loud.
the town
There are
and-
certain ones, and there are certain backup alarms they do
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
for noise sensitive areas,
But
like hospitals and stuff. It sounds like almost like a squawking duck,
Yeah.
Mm.
kind of. And that's something I would suggest for their vehicles that stay in their property all the time.
But I mean, you can hear the trucks over there starting up every morning,
Yeah.
and not only backing up, there's excavators moving, and at 6 o'clock in the morning over there.
I think they're okay at 6, I'm not sure of the
Yeah.
time frame, but anything, I think it's around 6 they do
Yeah.
get
Okay.
going. Sometimes you'll hear it
And that-
earlier, and in the
and
winter
that's,
you'll hear
you know,
it.
That's a pretty distance away, so.
Right.
I think on the plan of conservation, I mean, I think, and Carrie, you might be able to refresh me on that, but there was a lot of industrial, or properties that weren't developed for whatever reason, whether there wasn't septic and sewer or different things like that, and I think at the time, we tried to look at that and try to not to make it residential. But maybe in this case, I mean, it already is, there's a business there. So it's not like we're taking that overall property and converting it to residential that's just a thought. It's just, it is a mixed use. It's not converting completely over. So that's just something to think about.
The other thing is, as a man that's got a business in town, obviously is doing well, we certainly don't want to encourage him to leave town because our zoning regulations are too strict to allow him to move into that apartment and rent the other one.
He wants his homework separation.
We also, though, just to give a different
Mm-hmm.
perspective, is we don't want to set precedent too much and have every industrial
But we
use
already
come
have
here
the
and say,
precedent of,
well, there's a house, 1,500 yards there, and so I wanna develop mine. That's just. a
well,
different
as I say,
perspective.
it isn't like this is new, there is already precedent established.
Right.
So that should have been in effect originally and not
When will it end?
penalize the next person that comes along. Either you change your
It
regulations.
begins to snowball, though.
What you
Yeah,
look at
but-
going forward is any new,
I'm not saying anything, I'm just offering a different opinion
Yeah.
for the board to consider.
what they should do is going forward, any new, industrial space that goes up, have a clause in there, cannot be converted to residential or mixed use.
Well, and ultimately, the decision
Yeah.
will come down to the zoning board of appeals, either granting or not granting the use variance. But it's really just a recommendation based on, from a planning perspective, of what this board feels.
You might wanna put that clause in, cause then there's that new building supposedly gonna go in over on Totucket Road where he's building his new building, he's gonna have his trucks in there, and he's got the big space above for his office that he might wanna convert 10 years from now into residential, cause it's abuts a residential neighborhood. So when that building goes in for construction, I think that clause should probably put in there that,
Well, but again, that's a business zone, so, and
It's
residential is
okay.
allowed on the second
Oh,
floor
okay.
in business, but, right.
so how did you separate business between business and industrial, and why was that lot where he is zone industrial, not?
That whole corridor on Route 80 is.
On Ciro Road and Fowler Road.
Yeah, most,
Yeah.
the reason why I think there's residential there is because before the zoning regulations, and I don't know the years of the houses, but I'm just going back from some past history that, you know,
50s.
there was houses built before there was an industrial zone.
And before, right,
You know, or
before zoning went
in
in the
general.
50s,
So
yeah.
when you look across the town, I mean, the only industrial areas, you know, were mostly on Route 80, some on 22 and some on 17.
Right.
But, and that's why there's mixed use between an actual residential home and businesses.
But Cherry Hill's gonna be residential, there's a lot they're developing.
Well, that's, yeah, well, that
Which
was.
abuts it.
See,
Yeah.
now we looked at, and, I mean, I don't wanna get sidetracked, but just to give you, and Fran, I think you were on the commission with that. That was one of the concerns we had, because we have a limited number of, limited areas for industrial growth. So when we looked at that, we spent a little bit of time on that because we looked at the actual, parcel. And we were thinking like, we wanna drive more industry here into North Branford, but that actual parcel was not building ready. And I mean, it was, in listening to their proposal, I mean, they had to take out a lot of rock and do a lot of grading and the whole deal. So what business would actually go through you know, all that effort when they can go to someplace else, whether North Branford or other community, to build it, to, you know, put up a building. So being that they were interested in putting in a 55 and older complex and willing to do a lot of that site work, it seemed like the right fit for that particular spot. But other spots, we really take, you know, unless there's some reason, and if there's some property that is ready to go, I would probably hesitate a little bit of going residential on an I2 zone. It's like I said, we have very few properties available, and if we wanna drive some industry here, we wanna have them available for, you know.
You gotta take a look at what lots you have for industrial.
Yep.
And how big they are, and what's the feasibility of them ever getting to be,
Right.
you know, industrialized.
I mean-
It's not like we're talking about big acreage here.
Right, and in that particular one we looked at, it's no company's gonna come in here and do all that work. And so if we had an opportunity to put that in there, that was the place for it to go.
I recommend that we,
Well,
Give him-
you wanna make a motion?
I make a motion that
Oh, wait,
we,
wait.
And this is just something that's drafted,
Yeah,
but.
so we.
yeah, go ahead.
I move to recommend approval of the request for a use variance at 63 Fall Road, which is zoned I2, to allow for construction of 2 residential units in an existing detached building. Applicant Scott Swerred.
Second,
I second it.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who's the second? Fran.
Fran.
Thank you.
I gotta get that laminated for you. You pass it out so often, it's gonna fall
No,
apart.
actually, that'd be a good idea.
Well, here's a
I can circle.
Business, business, and industrial, yeah, the industrial would be.
I only have one other, I guess 2 other items quickly.
Manufacturing,
All going in.
but I'm saying,
And then-
how many areas that manufacturers gonna come into, or industrial.
We received notification that the town of North Haven is looking to amend their zoning regulations regarding outdoor advertising signs. So these are just some specifics. They're proposing to add a whole new section, talking about outdoor advertising signs.
Who wants
Doesn't
to-
impact us.
Who wants to add it?
I'm sorry?
Who wants to? Oh,
North
okay.
Haven.
So, yeah, North Haven, this is for the North Haven zoning regulations. So,
Anything useful to us?
I don't think so. I wanted to talk with the zoning officer about this a little bit more. It's interesting to me that they already have a large section about advertising signs, but now they're differentiating between outdoor advertising signs. I don't know, my kind of comment to them was, how do you define an outdoor advertising sign?
They might be talking about billboards.
Yeah, I was wondering, billboards.
I think,
Size,
right, or maybe
type.
A-frame signs?
But, yeah,
Lighting,
that's like,
freestanding.
So, right, a lot of theirs,
Because-
they do talk about, you know, the billboards, you know, they shall not exceed a height of 40 feet above the grade of Interstate 91, so obviously
Yeah.
nothing that's applicable to
Yeah, I think
North
it's more
Branford.
the other type of signs, because I think that recently was up at the, you know,
Oh, the COG,
yeah,
regional.
COG.
Right, yeah.
The big flag ones now, that's the new popular one. The big 10-foot flags.
Mm-hmm, waving
Like
flag.
sales. The say like the ice cream one at the mobile station, the big flag ones.
Oh, that, yeah, that kind, right?
And the,
Oh, yeah.
and the big ones there, those
Sandwich
stand up.
boards.
Pardon me?
Sandwich boards, right?
Sandwich boards, yeah.
What I'd like to know, does North Haven have an enforcement policy?
I can find out.
That's the big thing, we're saying that. We have these regulations, but there's no enforcement, there's no, like I said, no teeth behind the enforcement.
Right. I can find out. I know that Wallingford did, and still does technically, but that's where Tom Holgritty, our zoning officer, came from, and he was very instrumental in implementing that, so. At some point, I think he'll be back to talk about that with the board, if that's something that you're interested in pursuing and looking at the signs again, and having an enforcement
Well, we were gonna have a
program.
discussion on, I mean, some of these people, we had to look at signage, because some of them feel the only way they get to be known is to have these little sandwich boards out in the street. So, you know, we talked about maybe, you know, thinking of other ways rather than sandwich boards,
Right,
and we didn't do anything about it.
right.
Another form of distracted driving.
Mm-hmm. So the only other item that I had is just a reminder again about the September 22nd meeting regarding the Freedom of Information session that will be here at 5:30 to 7, and it's open to all members of town boards and the staff members.
September 22nd.
Yes.
And the meeting, September 2nd, it's at the auditorium.
The
Is-
8th, yep,
Eighth.
September
Is that-
8th.
Week
Yeah.
from today.
Is that our regular meeting, or is it a special meeting, or what?
Well, it's
That's
on
not
meeting.
our, it's not
meetings that we
one of
have.
our meetings at all.
So, do we
No,
go?
you don't have to.
I would, this is what I would say. It's essentially the state acting like the wetlands agency, so if you typically go to a wetlands agency meeting, then maybe you would go to that, but I don't,
Because if they, basically, if you go, you know, and it comes back here, I mean, you can't participate in it, because it's gonna, if it's approved, it's gonna come back to us. So, I mean, it'd be
I was
my
just curious
it'd be my
whether-
I mean, can you watch on TV? Absolutely, or whatever. I mean, we should have no interaction with any, if you go, but we should have no interaction with any of the conversations that go on.
right, because then it
with
would be
that or any-
ex parte
yeah.
communication.
I'm not looking to go to
Oh,
that
yeah.
meeting. I just
Yeah.
wanna know if we had to go.
No, you
No.
definitely don't have to go.
No,
But wait, you just said that if we go as a citizen to any other meeting that has a follow-up meeting here, we have to withdraw from that meeting?
No,
Because
no.
you just said that.
No, I
If
said you should not have any interaction
Interaction.
with any of the participants. You shouldn't be voicing an opinion, because once you do that,
Well, she can voice an opinion as a.
well, then when
as a
you come
citizen.
here, if let's say she said she's against that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, they're gonna, whoever's, the opposing are gonna ask to recuse
Right.
herself.
Right.
So, I
Commissioner.
mean,
But that's not what you said originally. You said if you attend the meeting, that you should recuse yourself from the meeting.
no, I never even said that.
Go
No,
to
but
tape.
but what I was, what, I mean, what,
That's what you
yeah,
said.
well, I didn't say recuse himself. I said you shouldn't participate. Yeah, not
Which
in
means
this
what?
one. You shouldn't participate in that. Because you don't wanna have happen what happened to the wetlands,
Right.
where all of a sudden, we don't have a quorum because somebody spoke out to the press and then recused themselves and, or whatever it might be.
Well, and I
then
think these
voted.
are all
So-
really good points to bring up at the September 22nd meeting, because Tom Hennick from the Freedom of Information Commission will be able to answer a lot of those questions about ex parte communication, what you can discuss, because it's true, you are all residents and you have a right to have an interest in those things. It's just that you also serve on a board as well
it's a
that could
conflict
be
of
voting
interest,
on
though.
those
It really
items,
is a
so
conflict
it's
of interest.
a
Absolutely.
challenge.
Yeah.
Like I say, I just wasn't sure whether we were supposed to be there.
It's
It's
in the front
No,
page of the
you are
sign.
not required to
Five
be
minutes,
there.
right?
Yeah.
5:30.
5:30.
6:30.
I had a meeting
Oh,
last
okay.
night
You
too.
said 5:30.
5:30 for the Freedom of
I'm
Information.
sorry,
Yes.
the Freedom of Information was 5:30.
5:30 to
Tribe.
7,
Yeah.
September 22nd.
Did you go?
here.
I'm sure you went.
Is there anything else?
That's it.
Somebody?
I moved to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?